Bismillah. Assalamu alaikum. Hey, and welcome back to the iLife Academy Coaching Podcast. Hey guys, this is Abdul Shahid, and if you want to find more of this, before I jump into today's podcast, which is all about pain, I want to just let you know we are actually on episode 30. Woohoo! So, what are we talking about today? We're talking about pain. We're talking about avoidance of pain. We're talking about the challenge of pain. And I'm going to talk to you about that in just a second, but just let you know, as you know, I run a life coaching program where I train life coaches, therapists, doctors, business people, like whoever wants to really up-level their game, whoever wants to take their life to a different level. And I'm going to be opening up enrollment very, very soon to a short program. But anyway, if you want to know more about this, go to QuranicConnection.tv. That's QuranicConnection.tv, and check out the certification program. And there'll be some information up there. There's some free courses there. Check it out. Inshallah, I get messages every day from different people about procrastination, about all sorts of different things, emotional stability. There are lots of free content on there. This podcast is not the only thing on offer. There's lots of stuff that I put out there. Make the most of it. I've put it out, and I'm hoping that it will help you to transform your life, inshallah. And anyway, let's get into the subject. So today we are talking about avoidance of pain. So look, so much of life is spent in avoidance, and that can be put down to maybe a few things, but I'm going to focus it on one simple thing. We want to avoid unwanted feelings. Well, who wants to feel horrible anyway, huh? I mean, we go through life without even realizing what we do. And being one of the greatest causes of grief and stress and overwhelm is what we do. And the thing is, we don't realize that. And we're so busy in trying to avoid the pain, avoid those bad feelings, we choose to avoid the subject by keeping our minds entertained. It's the whole, sticking your head in the sand and hoping that it will go away. But it doesn't actually go away. And that's a fact. Look, that's a fact. We go for pleasure. Our avoidance of pain and running towards the pleasure or entertainment is to keep us busy. And we seek out any type of pleasure that will distract the mind from the unwanted thoughts that create those horrible feelings that we sadly and badly want to avoid. And I say sadly and badly because, listen, it's a sad thing that we feel that we can't handle the feelings that we experience in life. Because the truth is, it's human nature. Like, if you weren't feeling anything, it would mean that you'd probably arrived in Jannah, right? And my guess is, if you're listening to this right now, you're feeling something, right? And you don't want to stop feeling stuff. And look, this is a problem so common with people that you find pretty much everyone in humanity has this. So if that's a situation, and this is a common human issue, why is it a problem for you and I? Well, the simple answer is that it's causing you to feel some unwanted feelings. It's not that it's causing you to feel unnatural feelings. No, I'm saying unwanted feelings that you don't want to feel, that makes you want to avoid taking some action that you really should do, or avoiding focusing your attention on something that you feel would really benefit your life, but you're staying away from it. You're staying and you're focusing your attention somewhere else. What do you think? Well, of course, you're probably agreeing with me, and the truth is, we all hate anxious feelings. We all dislike feeling anxious or unhappy, or the emotional pains that we feel from time to time, feeling unsettled, insecure. I mean, insecure is like the mother of unwanted feelings, and uh, and that's naturally inbuilt, right? That's something to do with the fitra, because the fitra is that you are reconnecting to your creator, and as a result of that, you feel secure, right? So when you're feeling insecure, it's telling you, like, it's like your fitra pulling you back, telling you, hey, wake up, there's something going on here, right? But as for all the other feelings, anxious, unhappy, sad, even, all of the feelings that we want to avoid, you know, that procrast pain. Have you heard of that? Procrastination pain, right? Now, the first time I heard that, I thought, you know what, that's so befitting, because we procrastinate, we put things off, the important things in life off so much, to the point that you feel pain of being stuck. Like, imagine that, where you feel that you have no control of your life. How would that feel to you? What is it about these feelings that makes you react and overreact the way you do to circumstances that trigger you, that just set you off? You see, this is the problem, you see. One of the reasons we don't like to feel what we feel is because we lose control. We lose control. We give up control. That's probably the better way to put it. We give up control to those things, those feelings that are triggered. Like, sure, circumstances outside might be triggering your feelings, but the minute you're triggered, it's like you lose control. So let me ask you a question. Are you losing control, or are you giving up control in a frenzy to go back to security when you're feeling insecure, or when you're feeling sad, or when you're feeling unhappy? Ask yourself this question. You will find that you have some really uncomfortable feelings that really set you off. And it's really the feelings that set you off. As much as we want to say it's the circumstances or the people in our lives, the thing that sets us off, and I want you to really clearly understand this, the thing that sets us off, that triggers us, that makes us really hate that feeling, is the feeling, is that bad feeling. And the whole desire to avoid that feeling, is what causes us to, procrastinate, or to have emotional meltdowns, or to start screaming and shouting, to start getting into conflict at work, with our neighbors, with our partners, with our, in our relationships, with our children. Like, it's the feeling that triggers you. And I know that's difficult to understand, but look, imagine this. You have a situation at work where your manager is really upset. The manager walks in, and you go to your manager for something that you want to speak about, and they just bite your head off, just snap at you. And instantly, you snap back. You get into a conflict situation. And then you go away, and you think to yourself, well, they have no respect. They have no respect for me. They showed me up. They undermined me. They abused me. And really, I want you to ask yourself, was it the fact you could clearly see the manager was upset anyway, right? Which had nothing to do with you. And then you see that you're trying to communicate with them, and obviously they're in a low mood. So their communication is coming from a state of low mood. And they start talking to you, in a way that you don't like. And then, is it the fact that they're talking to you in the way that you don't like, sorry, or is it the fact that you're telling yourself that they have no respect for me, they're undermining me, they're showing me up. What is it that makes you feel bad? And what I'm telling you, what I'm saying is actually, it's the fact that we interpret other people's behavior in a personal way as a personal attack that makes us feel the way. It may not even be the personal factor. It may just be that I interpreted my manager and the low mood as an attack on me, undermining me, showing me up. And the minute I do that, obviously I'm going to take it personally, and I'm going to get upset. And what happens when you're upset and in a low mood? You speak from a place of low mood. And so the manager's upset, you're upset. And you're having this discussion, and it's not going to take you anywhere. So the thing that triggers us is the way that we feel. Manager said something, you felt something, you didn't like that feeling, you interpret it in a way that makes it worse, which is that they are undermining me or showing me up. And next thing you know, you're responding from that place of low mood. And it just spirals out of control. And actually, the same thing happens between husband and wife. All the time. Same thing happens. And between siblings, between parent and child, it happens in relationships. But the thing that we hate the most is the feeling. And so we try and avoid those feelings, so we avoid those relationships. We try and avoid those feelings, so we avoid those people. And you see, it just makes the whole thing worse. Because it's not, those feelings, they're not going to kill you. And those feelings, they're made worse by the way that we interpret them, the stories that we make up about them. So look, that's just an example of something really horrible. But something really horrible is what we're feeling, but we create something worse from how we respond to it, how we talk to ourselves about it in our minds. Like, we make it worse. And no one likes to take that responsibility. But look, what I'm saying is that if you take that responsibility and understand that it's the way that you are seeing things, then what will happen is that you will take back control. Because if it's about the way that I see things, it's about the way that I'm interpreting my manager, then I can diffuse it or I can ignite it. And I'll give you an example. I could look at that and think, oh, he's really upset. It's actually nothing to do with me. And I'm just not going to take that personally because he's being a bit of a moron. But, that's because he's upset. So then I feel compassion for him. On the other hand, I could ignite it. I could say, oh, he's taking a mick at me. He did it. He's attacking me in front of everyone. And then I take it really personally. And I get upset. And that just ignites it. It makes it worse. So based on how I see it, I can change the way I feel. I don't have to, feel really, really bad. I can process that feeling without avoiding it. I can process that feeling without the need to avoid my manager. Because imagine I have this painful experience with my manager, then for the next 2 weeks I'm avoiding my manager. I mean, that's not going to work, is it? I mean, if you go to work and you're avoiding your manager, that's not going to work. If you go to work and you avoid your business partner, that's not going to work. If you go home and avoid your husband or your wife, that's not going to work. And the reason that we do this avoidance is because we're trying to avoid the pain. But look, most of the time, if we could just recognize that we are in control of the way that we perceive, we can look at things the way they are. Like, it's the feeling that makes us so mad or sad. It's the feeling, experiencing that feeling. But if you can just feel the feeling without interpreting it in a way that makes it worse, then you're going to realize that actually it's just a feeling. And that's okay. Feelings won't kill you. You'll be fine. And here's the thing. I can't remember where I had this, but you know what? It rung true with me, and it stayed with me up until now. Don't allow your feelings to ruin your life. Feelings are just feelings. Half the time, they're based on these stories, these interpretations of events and circumstances and triggers. They're based on the interpretation that we give it, the meaning that we give it. So you can avoid all of that. You can avoid all of it, or you can just face it and not give it a story, not give it an interpretation, and just process it without making the situation worse. And look, relationships will flourish if we could just get this one right. Relationships would flourish. Okay, so another one of the reasons for this type of avoidance, the avoiding of feelings, is that we have associated some sort of pain with doing the thing that we're avoiding. And this happens a lot with procrastination, right? This type of avoidance is directly linked to procrastinating, putting things off, and is often the real cause of why we put things off, right? It's the real cause because we're trying to avoid a feeling, albeit we don't always recognize it, and we waste a lot of time trying to figure out, like, strategies to get over or to force ourselves or to strengthen our willpower or to create habits. And really, all it is that we're trying to avoid a feeling. And it's a difficult one, there's no doubt, because so many people struggle with this. And the easiest way to resolve this permanently is to find the root cause. Find what it is that you're trying to avoid. Avoidance of some unwanted feeling is more often the real cause of why we procrastinate, why we put things off. And I couldn't tell you how many times I've been in a coaching situation where I'm coaching someone on the issue of procrastinating, not taking action, and find that it's just an unwanted feeling that is really driving their behavior. And the minute they discover what's really going on, the minute they discover, they have a breakthrough. They realize what's really going on because it's that simple, and really that starts to change life. When you discover what it is that holds you back, and it's that simple, and you realize that you can handle it, you can handle any of it, then it really, really transforms your life. And the reality is that simple. But most people won't see it till they've actually been through the process. And it's, as simple as it is, people kick themselves when they realize how simple it is. And look, I tell you, the reason why you find professionals, entrepreneurs, doctors, therapists, coaches, psychologists, business people, you will find that this is the reason that they all suffer without any exception, because of the need or the feeling that we need to avoid a feeling. And you imagine that because someone's a medical professional or a mental health professional themselves, that they wouldn't have these problems, right? Wrong. We are all human beings. This problem affects all of us. And I can tell you from experience, my own challenges with it, that even with all of the people that I deal with, be it health professionals, be it, coaches. I mean, coaches are coaching people on this, but they themselves struggle from this. Like, it's a human problem. It is very much a human problem. And look, avoiding pain or avoiding a feeling is one of the biggest causes of inaction, procrastination, conflict between people in their relationships, and it is by far the simplest thing to resolve once you understand what it is. But you've got to get to the root of the problem. And I've got no doubt that it can be solved, because obviously I'm working with people solving this. But the thing is, like, you have to recognize what the real cause is. You have to know what it is. It's so important, because if we cannot get past this result or achievement killer, then we get to the point where there is a pain that we cannot avoid. You see, you're trying to avoid a pain, but then if you can't get past this, pain avoidance or feeling avoidance, then eventually you come up against the pain that you cannot avoid. And that is the pain of not having things in life, not achieving the things we want. This is truly the challenge that most people struggle with. And it's punishing, because it's mostly self-inflicted. Because of the desire to feel no pain, we end up avoiding and not processing the emotions and the feelings that we have. And as a result of that, you end up being in a situation that you don't want to be. But look, let me just go back to the simple thing. Like, it's about the way we see it. And I want to give you a simple one statement. Like, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim, La yukallifu Allahu nafsan illa wus'aha. Allah will not burden a soul more than it can bear. That means you can deal with any emotional pain that you have to deal with. You can deal with any emotion. You can process it and you'll be fine. You'll be good. In fact, if you actually process it, you'll find that it goes away. It's when we don't process it that it doesn't go away. Like, you wouldn't be burdened with something that you can't handle. That's what the verse is telling us. So you can handle it. And all you have to do is not try and avoid it. Like, figure out the cause. Look, it's a definite. If you figure out the cause, you will find a solution. And the solution is almost always, it is truly in your perception. It is truly in your grasp. You have the power to change this. You have the power to determine your life, because that's a choice that the Creator of the heavens and the earth has given us. You can do this. There's no doubt in my mind about this, because with every one of my clients, everyone I'm working with, we figure out what the challenge is, and the minute they realize what it is, they're able to get past it. But the fact is, they need to realize, they need to understand, because for as long as you don't understand, you won't get it. And don't think you won't slip back into something. We forget. It's a natural human state. We forget. So you slip back, and that's okay, as long as you just get up and move on again. So you can do it. It's within your power. It's within your, it's as long as it is within you, you have the power to change it. As long as it is within you, you have the power to change it. And that's the most empowering lesson you could get. So anyway, I'm going to leave you with that until the next episode. Jazakumullah khair.